Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please stand for the presentation of the colors and the singing of the national anthem. Today, the colors will be presented by the Hot Springs High School Navy Junior ROTC Color Guard. The Color Guard commander is Cadet Tommy Byers with Cadets Christian Little, Alicia Jones, and Angelica Perkins. Singing the national anthem will be our own choir director, Delene Davidson, and incoming junior, Claire Turkle.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Governor. Good morning. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. Oh, man. I didn't use enough hairspray this morning, so don't take my picture. Yes, have a seat, please. I want to welcome all of you who have come to share this day with us. A special thank you to Governor Beebe, the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees, our ASMSA Board of Visitors, all of the state legislators in attendance, our foundation ambassadors, city officials, particularly our local representative, Peggy Maruther, representatives of the U of A system and its institutions, and the amazing faculty and staff of the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts. I want to extend a special welcome to our local delegation, Representative Bruce Cozart, Representative Bruce Westerman, Representative Loy Mock, Senator Mike Fletcher, Representative John Vines, and Senator Bill Sample. Mr. Aiken, I invite you to come up and say a few words.
Good morning. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, it's our privilege to be here for one of our regularly scheduled board meetings. We're certainly happy and satisfied with the new student life complex here at ASMSA. And I know some parents are going to breathe a sigh of relief and have definitely a higher comfort level as students are able to move in and enjoy these new facilities. So I want to take privilege this morning in introducing other board members that are in attendance today. And if you would, please stand as I call your name. If you hold your applause until all have been introduced. Vice Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Jane Rogers from Little Rock. Mark Waldrop from Morrow. Jim Von Grimp, Rogers. John Goodson, Texarkana. Our newest board member, Dr. Stephen Broughton from Pine Bluff. Sam Hilburn from Little Rock. Senator David Pryor, Little Rock, and Ben Heineman is here, Jonesboro. And I don't think I've missed anybody. Another person that's with us today that's pretty important to me is my wife, Susan, is back here. We had a nice reception last evening. Enjoyed visiting with members of the community and the staff here. And whether it's this organization, or this institution, campus, or any other institution within the UA system, I'm always amazed at how passionate people are about the University of Arkansas, and especially about ASMSA. Governor, for some strange reason, Dr. Hugo has decided she wants to retire. I don't know, we get this new building done, but we've certainly appreciated her service to the school, and we'll miss you, and we appreciate all that you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Aiken. I've got a number of people to thank for making this happen, so bear with me. I'll try to be quick. Almost 2 years ago, the first dirt was turned to begin construction of this amazing building you see in front of you. Our vision of what could become reality through the work of the architects at Polk Stanley Wilcox, Joe Stanley, Reese Rowland, Sarah Bennings, Ross McCain, and Dion Bartlett came into reality. Would those people please stand? I know you're here. Oh, they're back there. There are so many decisions to be made over the course of these years, but those decisions were made with ease because of this team. We are so grateful for the interiors expertise of Laura Cox and for making our selection process so easy. Laura, wave. Assisting her was Corey Trice. McClellan Civil Engineers, Dan Baranek and Tim Brockway. The engineers from TME Incorporated, Mike Barnett, Ben Wiegand, Roger Yin, John Blissett, and the landscape architects from Crafton Tall Sparks, Dave Rogers, and Kyle Blakely. They have been outstanding. Where are all of you? Somewhere in the back. Thank you from all of us for your hard work and dedication to this project and for getting our vision. Of course, the architects put it all on paper, and someone has to take that and turn it into a real building. That someone is Hill and Cox. Our contractor promised us on time and under budget and has delivered on that promise. Brian Hill and his superintendent, Darrell Dodd, have demanded the very best from the subcontractors on every phase of construction. This building will stand as a testament to quality and attention to detail upon completion. Where are you guys? Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Three years ago, Dr. Alan Sugg recognized our need for a new residential facility. He believed in us and provided the foundational support to make this happen. But he could not have done this without his staff and their expertise. Barbara Goswick, U of A CFO and Vice President for Finance. Ann Kemp, Vice President for Administration. Fred Harrison, General Counsel, and Melissa Russ, Vice President for Government Relations. Our sincere thank you for all the headaches we caused you. Where are you? They're here somewhere. Stick your hands up. I know you're here. There they are. I don't know if they're going to miss me. In the beginning, we had the support and drive from our state legislative delegation, U of A trustees, and Hot Springs city officials. Senator Bill Sample, Senator Terry Smith, Representative Gene Shelby, Representative Rick Saunders, Trustee John Ed Anthony, City Manager Lance Hudnall, and Chamber of Commerce CEO Dave Byerly met with Governor Beebe to ask for funding. You remember that meeting, Governor? He kept reminding me about some promises back when he was senator. I remember very well the plea that was made. Thank you for all that you did. Governor Beebe runs when he sees me now, and it's not toward me to greet me. He provided the initial ARRA funds to get this party started, and then provided additional funding so that we could finish out the building. I am forever grateful to you, Governor. I'm going to cry. For believing in this school and its importance to this state. I'm honored to know you, and thank you for all you've done. Thank you. Darn it, I'm not a crier either. The initial funding, of course, wasn't enough to finance the project, so we had to become innovative and creative. Dave Byerly, he's over here somewhere, sent us a volume of information about Newmarket's tax credits, and we all thought he was crazy. Months later, we realized Dave was a pretty smart guy after all. In came Sam Walls III and Leslie Lane from Arkansas Capital. Through their guidance and the system folks' hard work, Bank of the Ozarks bought those tax credits, and we reached the total to begin construction. Eric Gustafson, Eric, is here as representing Bank of the Ozarks. It took 20 attorneys to close the deal. Dave has also been a major force behind building community support for the school. I thank all of you very deeply. The reporting and oversight of this project now fell on the backs of ASMSA staff. I can never say enough about the hours that Janann Abernathy, Director of Finance, and my buddy Wes Burton, recently retired facilities manager, put into this project. Janann is probably the state's expert on dealing with Davis-Bacon wages and ARRA funding. She has been the rock through this process. In honor of her efforts, the second floor lounge on the girls' side is named Abernathy Theater Room. Where are you, Janann? Stand up. Wes Burton served as the liaison with the contractor, and I know he kept them straight. In his honor, the second floor boys' lounge will carry his name. Thank you both from the bottom of my heart. Stand up, Wes. There's a very special person here today who made my job easier because she agreed to become the interim dean of academic affairs when I was hired as the director. We kept her on for 3 more years after that. Melanie Nichols was the first teacher hired at this school before it was even ready for students. Although she retired 2 years ago, her influence on the school remains. Thank you, Melanie, for your years of service. In your honor, the Girls' Hall is officially Nichols Hall. I love you. Stand up. Finally, someone sitting here may have thought I have forgotten all about him. He has given his time and support not just to this project, but to the school in general for the past 6 years. His advice has provided guidance to me, and his efforts to secure funding for this building cannot be quantified. Keep in mind, he used to call me about 4 or 5 times a day, starting about 7 in the morning. Steve Ferris is a bulldog, and I have appreciated his tenacity. He loves this school. 3 years ago, Steve entrusted ASMSA with a young man who is very much a son to him. Harry graduated in 2011 and has just now completed his freshman year at Washington Baptist University. There are no words to thank you, Steve, for all that you have done and for giving us Harry. And in your honor and his, the Boys' Hall has been named Ferris Hall.
Well, you don't know what to say when you suddenly don't know what to say. What an honor. And thank you. I was all prepared to say some things. Just give me a minute to... I'm kind of like Dr. Hugo. You get a little emotional every now and then, so just bear with me. But I want to say what a pleasure it has been to be a part of this whole area here, this institution. I think former ASMSA founding board member and now dean of the Clinton School of Public Service, Skip Rutherford, said it pretty well. This is Arkansas's high school. It's for the whole state. It's a unique facility filled with unique individuals, and I think the most unique city in Arkansas, Hot Springs. Indeed, my involvement with ASMSA is a unique story as well. Dr. Hugo told you a little bit. It's a one-student success story that opened one person's eyes about what this institution is all about. Long story short, I watched this school change a life, and in a way, it changed my life as well. And I realized what part of the uniqueness of ASMSA is. Just like this young man, there are hundreds of others just like him. unique young people, each having their own unique success story, who've left this place uniquely better as people and individuals. I want to reiterate what a great team has accomplished today. A team of many players who have worked for 20 years to make today a reality. So many I could never name them all, but I want to just mention a few. It started with a bunch of bell ringers and a former state senator named Bud Canada. And the chief bell ringer and the most passionate of all, sitting right out there, Helen Seelig. Give her a hand. And you know, together Senator Canada, Helen Seelig, and a host of others won the day. And the Arkansas General Assembly voted to locate what was originally ASMS, minus the A, right here in Hot Springs. Since that time, so many have shown support in so many ways. City leaders, county leaders, educators, business leaders, dedicated volunteers, and the list goes on and on. Legislators like Terry Smith sitting back there, Gene Shelby, Rick Saunders, and all the current local delegation, and again, the late Bud Canada. So many great faculty and administrative staff members whose efforts through the years have also made today possible. So many students who's carried the message, so many parents, and a few people I want to mention specifically. Just to reiterate what Dr. Hugo said, Dr. Alan Sugg, former president of the University of Arkansas Systems, without his tireless efforts, today would never have happened. Dr. Sugg would modestly deny this, but we all know it's so. Senator Gilbert Baker, chairman of the Joint Budget Committee the last 2 legislative sessions, who prioritized funding for ASMSA when it wasn't even in his district and said, it serves the whole state of Arkansas and it needs our help. Senate President Paul Bookout, who couldn't be here today, of Jonesboro, who made funding for ASMSA a priority and said, ASMSA serves all of Arkansas, and proper living facilities for the students are long overdue. All the local legislative delegation, current and before, are to be thanked for today. Senator Bill Sample and Representative John Vines, who represent this area in the General Assembly, and who both work tirelessly to carry the cause of ASMSA to a new level in the eyes of the state legislature. Without their efforts, we would not be here today. And as with any team, there is always one real cog that keeps the whole group going. Without question, that cog has been Dr. Janet Hugo, no doubt. Even letting me call her at 7 in the morning. Whenever the message of ASMSA needed to be brought to the forefront, she was always there, always smiling, always positive, never angry, or at least not where anybody could see it. Without your efforts, Dr. Hugo, we would most certainly not be here today. And on every team, there are unsung members. As Dr. Hugo retires, I would be remiss in my remarks if I didn't mention her husband, Doug Hugo, who's been very involved in supporting Janet and ASMSA so many ways through the years. And our incoming director, Corey Alderdice, and his wife, Stephanie, we look forward to your presence as the torch is passed and you begin your time as the faces of this institution. We wish you every success. And finally, there's one individual who has as much history with this place as anyone here today. Someone who has shown a commitment to ASMSA since the first day of its existence. Governor Mike Beebe. Before he became governor, then Senator Mike Beebe was a leading force in establishing this institution and working through the years to provide the resources necessary to make ASMSA what it is today. And as Governor Mike Beebe, as Dr. Hugo alluded to, he gave the largest single amount of stimulus money awarded anywhere in Arkansas to this project, $6 million, which absolutely made this day possible. Governor Beebe. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present to you our Governor, Mike Beebe. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Thank you. I saw a side of Janet Hugo a minute ago I'd never seen before. When she got emotional, it reminded me of something that occurred, also connected with the University of Arkansas, a number of years ago. And I'm glad she's retiring because I'm about to tell this story, and I'd hate for her to adopt this this course of action. There was a famous, infamous, effective, really wonderful lady named Joyce Roten, who was a lobbyist for the University of Arkansas system. Now, Joyce Roten cried once 44 years ago, I'm sure. She was tough as nails, tough as an absolute boot. Very effective, very knowledgeable. And there are several people in this audience who worked with her and knew her so well, they can vouch for that. She was capable of doing virtually anything legal to advance the university's cause. I was a very young senator, and we had a crusty old, kind but crusty old experienced bull of a senator named Clarence Bell, Mr. Education for years. He was number 2 in seniority in the Senate when I was just a mere pup in the Senate. He loved Joyce Roten. She really did suck up to him a lot. And she and I were fighting about something. I don't even know what the issue was, but I was mad at her and she was mad at me, and she wasn't getting her way on something. So she goes outside of the joint budget committee room, goes over to the water fountain and gets some water and rubs it on her cheeks. And then walks up to Clarence Bell with his water running down her cheeks. And he says, "Darling, what's wrong?" Puts his arm around her. "That mean old Senator Beebe did thus and such and thus and such." Well, Clarence was a gentleman, but he was also pretty proud of his friends. And he came and he said, "Senator, what did you do to Joyce Roten?" I looked across his shoulder, and there behind him stood Joyce Roten, and she was doing all this. Those tears weren't fake. That emotion was real. Janet Hugo loves these students, loves this institution, loves this place, and she is leaving it in extraordinarily good shape, and the people of Arkansas are forever grateful for your leadership. The reports that many of the board members and certainly many of the administrators and obviously Janet and her team continued to get back over the last several years were that they were getting the best and the brightest, first in science and math and then ultimately science, math, and the arts, but that there were a lot of the best and the brightest whose parents came to visit and who changed their mind about whether or not they wanted to send their bright young people to a residential high school that offered the absolute best in the curriculum in their fields. They changed their mind about sending their students here not because they doubted the mission of the school or because they doubted the quality of the staff and the faculty. They changed their mind because they looked at the living conditions, and notwithstanding all the advantages that existed, they had some trepidation about entrusting their young people to the living conditions that existed. And so, born from that frustration, born from the desire to bring the kind of residential opportunities that were befitting the academic opportunities that existed, extra work was put in by Janet and her staff and all the people that have been mentioned going through a number of years to try to find a way to create this place. It was a long time coming with lots of fits and starts, but ultimately we celebrate here today. Has it been 2 years since we broke ground? Steve, you're getting old. Steve Ferris has given a lot of credit to a lot of people, and it's deserving. And he was magnanimous in his praise for so many of his colleagues and so many of the other people that rightly have had a hand in getting where we are. Janet Hugo said it best. There's been nobody that was more pronounced and nobody that was more dogged in their pursuit of what we celebrate today than Steve Ferris. Janet said she used to call him 5 or 6 times a day. Janet, you're not unique. I can say this with a degree of affection. He is absolutely obnoxious. When he gets his teeth into something, he is unrelenting. And he is right. The largest single discretionary amount of money that I was afforded in the stimulus program, known as the American Recovery Act, went to this effort, to this building, to this enterprise. After having taken a jillion phone calls from Steve to get to that point, I thought we were through with him and with the resources from the state necessary to be where we are. Little did I know that that was merely the beginning. With Steve, it's what have you done for me lately? It's never, though, about Steve. It was never for him personally. It was for the students. It was for the mission of this place. And so through subsequent activities and the legislative action that has been recounted, additional dollars with additional people, such as Gilbert and Paul and Steve and John and others, Bill, others that have been mentioned, resulted in the accumulation of some resources that we're still about $300,000 short, as I understand, but I'm sure there'll be somewhere, somehow, somebody will turn over something that'll find that. The stimulus money, in my opinion, should have been spent on, and where I had any ability to direct it, it was spent on one-time capital projects. It was one-time money. You don't put one-time money into ongoing programs unless you're just trying to temporarily put a hole in the, or a finger in the hole of a dike. Because if you put one-time money into ongoing programs and it's not just a temporary stopgap measure, you are just delaying the inevitable and putting yourself in a hole going forward with operations. But there's always capital needs across our state. And the capital needs across our state never have enough resources to be met. So I thought that the recovery money, the stimulus money, could be utilized in a fashion for brick and mortar, for maintenance, for all of the kind of capital projects that always go wanting. And this one certainly was a success story about how that money was spent. It was designed to aid and assist in certain needs, and the taxpayers see something as a result of it here. But it was also designed to put people to work. And the engineers and the architects and the contractors that are here can attest to the fact that work was actually achieved as a result of this. This is a success story on so many levels, and Hot Springs should be so proud of this. Hot Springs beat the state when it came to the location for this facility. And Hot Springs benefits and will continue to benefit from the exposure and the activity that's generated from the operation of this school. But the most important thing is not Hot Springs. It's not even Arkansas. The most important thing are these young people. Young people who will achieve a level of educational exposure and excellence that's second to none. The opportunity for them to be able to take their place in the world, to go on to colleges and universities across the country, and indeed sometimes across the world, with the kind of foundation necessary to stand them in good stead for the rest of their lives. Many of them will be doctors or scientists. Many of them will be teachers. Many of them will be artists. and performers. Many of them will find their place to be able to help others along the way. And so the lasting legacy of what we celebrate here today, and all the contributions attributable to all the wonderful people who have been mentioned, and probably some who have not been mentioned, will manifest themselves in the actual individuals who will cross these hallways and walk out of this school with an understanding and the knowledge necessary to make tomorrow a better world for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Beebe. Like Janet, I didn't use enough hairspray today, but for me it doesn't matter as much. You can tell Janet's in retirement mode. When she asked me to speak, I said, well, how long would you like me to talk? And she said, well, 60 seconds is a good time, but if you can do it quicker, we'd appreciate that. So I think that we can do it quicker. There is one group of individuals I want to recognize who have been very instrumental in helping this school move forward, and that is its Board of Visitors, and I know that several of them are here today. If you're on the Board of Visitors for ASMSA, would you please stand so we can acknowledge your contributions? Thank you. What a wonderful day this is. This building and the students it will serve represent the future of Arkansas. It's been clear to me for some time that education is a calling, and I want to offer the faculty and staff who work at ASMSA my sincere thanks and appreciation for accepting this important responsibility. As Will Durant so concisely stated, education is nothing less than the transmission of civilization. Short, sweet, and right on the mark. In similar vein, William Ellery Channing had said that it's greater work to educate a child, in the true and larger sense of the word, than to rule a country. So it is indeed my great privilege as president of the University of Arkansas System to declare that on this day, May 24th, 2012, I hereby dedicate the ASMSA Student Center and the Mellon Nichols and Steve Ferris Residence Halls. ASMSA is an important part of the educational portfolio of the University of Arkansas System, and we support its continued growth and mission to educate Arkansas's best and brightest students. Congratulations, ASMSA family.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming. This is a great testament to the work that's gone into this incredible building here, and more so the incredible school and the curriculum that our faculty offer our students. Governor Beebe, you're absolutely right. All of this is secondary to what the kids do. There are hundreds of stories, thousands of stories of how our students come here, improve their lives, and go on to things that they never would be given the opportunity to in their home schools. So I really want to just acknowledge that, because that is what we're here for. I'm the newest team of Janet's group. Gregory, I grew up here in Hot Springs, and as I've looked at the building, I've looked at the incredible effort, the concerted effort that's gone into making this a reality. I want you to look side by side. Look at each person around you. Look behind you. Look at these folks up here. This was an effort caused by you guys. You guys should get all the praise for this, because it couldn't happen with just the legislators, with just the Board of Trustees, with just us. It had to have everybody involved to make this a reality, okay? Now, I want you to turn around and look behind you. You see that building there? Some of you may have been born there. Some of you may have family members that died there. Some of you may have had their wisdom teeth out there like I did when I was in 11th grade, you know? So there's a lot of history in that building. But that building is not going to be there much longer. That building's in the way of progress. I want you, when you guys have the tour today, I want you to look at what has been done here for this campus. This is an awesome facility. Any college campus in the world should be grateful and very privileged to have this type of facility. So that's the past. This is the start of the future. My job is to help raise funds for the rest of the project. That's not an easy task. We think it was difficult enough to get here from the governor. Janet was ankle biting him all the time, I know, and so was Steve. We now have to go to private monies to finish out the process. All you guys are going to be recruited, hopefully, and will help us to do that. It's a very, very, very difficult, but a very important task for the rest of our campus project. So, team, if you come forward. So in light of that, to recognize the past, because you want to remember your past, the humble beginnings of the school, the residence hall that supported our school for 18 years, The ASMSA Foundation would like to present the school an original artwork from Allison Parsons, a local artist. Allison, you here? Allison, please stand. I'd like to present this to Dr. Hugo and ASMSA to be hung in the lobby of the new Student Center. Along with that, we have the present representing the path to the future. Again, original artwork by Allison to be hung in the lobby of the new Student Center to tie the past with the present. And guys, the future is next. All right, little housekeeping. We're going to have the ribbon cutting ceremony here in just a minute. After that, we're going to break up into two separate groups because we can't take the tours all at once. Baja and Janet, you will assemble over here to my left with the Board of Trustees and the members from the Arkansas system to take their tours first. Everyone else, again, if you look straight behind this pathway right here, there's a door that goes into the old cafeteria. That's where we'll be serving lunch. So everyone else besides the system members, please feel free to go down. We've got some great barbecue, some great chicken. It's a really, really good lunch today for everyone. Approximately noon, if you would like to tour the building, and please, we would welcome you to do that. Start assembling again to my left. We will have tour guides to take you through the building, show you the phenomenal views. And be sure you do this. Be sure you go to the third floor and visualize what you're going to see when this building is gone. It's an incredible, incredible view. So you'll have some folks showing you that. So Melanie, Steve, would you please step forward?
All right.
First try.
Somebody say 1, 2, 3, go.
1, 2, 3, go.